It doesn't quite look like it in my mind. Why would you describe it that way?
Well, have you seen any of the Clark standing in front of the valley and it's green and it's beautiful? Yeah, it's beautiful. That's why. I mean, the truth is, my daughter's name is Eden. I named it after my daughter, but it is also, Eden was the first biblical garden, and this is the last. Theoretically, if they don't protect this last valley, then the earth is going to be no more. And so it's either the last or the first. It's a chance for the world to come back if the characters can figure out a way to live there in peace.
Together.
And that'll be difficult. Right. The peace part is the hard part.
What's the biggest obstacle? Why can't they all just agree to get along?
Writing. No. I think it's, unfortunately, it's human nature on a lot of levels to sort of circle the wagons and protect your people, and that's been the theme of the show in many ways since the beginning. The way that they transpire this season, the first contact, as it were, between Clark and the prisoners, sort of necessitates the conflict. Unfortunately, Clark is not, rushing in there saying, "Let's make peace" and let's exchange stories. It's much more trying to, she's trying to figure out who they are, what they want, why they're here, are they dangerous, can we work together? And then something happens which sort of sets off her maternal instinct, and, the rest is, you don't want to make Mama Bear mad. So I can't really talk more about it.
Can you share more details about the 100 people that you're working on?
Well, not really. I mean, the thing that I love the most about this show really is that the universe is so dense, and if you look at along the timeline, to me anyway, there's a lot of fascinating story to tell, and so I've chosen a time period that I think is interesting. It's a totally new world. It's before the show, so in a way it's a prequel, but it's sort of the ancestors. Like, the protagonist of the show is, now here I am talking about it, but the protagonist of the show is Clark's great-great-great-grandmother, So, and we'll meet some other ancestral descendants, and of course, we know Becca was alive back then, so maybe there'll be some connective tissue in terms of familiar faces, but it's a ways off still. We have a lot. I literally just finished the season yesterday. What's today? Friday? Yeah. No. What is today?
Friday.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I finished yesterday, so I'm going to start focusing on other things.
Allie this season, is that going to be addressed whatsoever?
This season, I don't think Allie comes up this season.
Even though she's still on the arc.
Is she?
Well, in many ways, she kind of is the arc, so... But I want to know, is there going to be details about the prison transport itself? Where is it been?
Well, the prisoners, Allegis is a mining company, and there were 4 Allegis missions that we know about that we'll learn about in the show.
Mining in space?
They send, yes, it's like a asteroid that they're mining something called Hypholodium on an asteroid called Proxima 6, and they have cryosleep. It's a long-duration space mission, and something happened out there that we will learn about. They kind of took over, the prisoners took over the ship, and they've returned, expecting to find a world that wouldn't let them home because they're prisoners, after all. So they had a plan for that, but it's not an unnecessary plan, as it turns out, because there's no people left. Yanked?
No.
Photobombed?
Photobomb.
Was he going to do like the Gatorade tour?
It was cookies or something.
Girl Scout cookies.
Anyway, we'll learn a lot about them. It's a different group of villains. We generally, as
Are
you
they
know,
all villains?
well, they're all criminals except for Shaw, who is part of the crew. But in the 100, we try and sort of dimensionalize our villains so that we understand them. It was a little trickier to dimensionalize this group, frankly, because we wanted to be true to the fact that they are all maximum security prisoners. But people are, Dioza has more of a political, she did some things that were horrible in the name of her cause, but her cause was probably the right one. That doesn't make her any less of a killer or a terrorist, but at least we'll understand what made her tick and what made her do what she's a very interesting new addition to the show. Graveyard McCreary is much more of a straight up, He's a much more of a straight up bad guy.
I love his nickname. That's great.
Thanks.
What's it like to play a Murphy who is ready to be the good guy?
Well, that's presumptuous that he's ready to be the good guy.
Okay.
I think he does what he thinks is right moment to moment. What's it like to play him is a dream, because he is a guy who is very complicated in that way, and I don't just get to be perfect. Not everything I do is like a cheat code in a video game that I'm like great at this, great at that. He has to work at things, and I think he sees that other people are much, God bless you. I know it wasn't a sneeze, but blessings be upon you anyway. To all of you. What was I saying? He's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
He's a lot of fun to play. Yeah.
Do you have creative input in the character now?
I think that right off the bat, by them keeping me around, it was creative input because of I just did what I wanted to at the beginning, and Jason seemed to really love that and run with it. So now I pretty much just trust. Thank you. I trust what he's doing with it, and if I really have something to say, Jason will hear me out and usually agree.
Fantastic.
But for me, I look at it more as like, as an actor, I'm a mercenary. I'm a hired gun. So whatever you want to write, you write, and I'm gonna make it work.
And you do it very well.
Thank you. They don't make it too hard on me either.
What's the dynamic going to be between like Murphy and Maddie? I mean, she seems kind of like she's a little stubborn person.
Again, who's to say that we have scenes together? But I love Lola, and without giving too much away, we have spent a lot of time together on set, and I think she's such a talented. I don't even say a little actor. She's just a talented actor. I think the last time Murphy really had a kid of that age around him was Charlotte. And I don't think that really went all too well. So I think if he ever sees her, he'd be like, "Oh my gosh, what is this? Charlotte's back." I don't think he's really used to kids. But, there's nothing to disprove. Maybe Uncle Murphy can't be a thing. I don't know. I think he'd be a cool uncle. I think there's something to learn. She could learn something from Murphy that Clark, with her moral compass, couldn't teach her in the 6 years. I think that would be a valuable thing to look into.
What do you imagine Murphy would be doing in space for 6 years?
A lot of hating it. My journey this season was kind of thinking of why kind of he is the way he is when there's nothing wrong really up in space other than kind of a little bit of a claustrophobia, but that's not really what gets to Murphy. I think that on the ground with all the war going on and people constantly trying to kind of take his life away from him, it kind of gave him reason to be the way he is and kind of have that thing inside of him, that war inside of him. But when there's nothing there to attack him, and sometimes he wakes up in the morning and is so sad or messed up inside of him that he can't get out of bed, he's too proud to talk to other people about it. Because I think the issue of mental health isn't something that people talk about anymore in our world. Not our world, we talk about it a lot, but in the world of the 100, I think the talk of mental health died out when the bombs went off. No one's really caring or talking about it, so I don't think it's something everyone talks about. So I think Murphy's pride doesn't allow him to kind of tell everyone else that he's not okay.
Does that drive the wedge between him and Amori?
I'd say so, yes. Because I think Amori is someone who she finds a way to be useful. She finds a way to kind of fit in. And this whole new world for Amori that has been opened up to her in the last 6 years, she kind of thrives in that world. Because it's people who are finally giving her a chance. Whereas Murphy takes away all of his chances. He always seems to find a way to do that. So I think that would be hard between the two of them.
Well, we've heard a lot about the other reasons. One of the things we haven't heard about is Bellamy and Kane. I know it may not happen right away, but how would you describe that?
Brief. Kane has a crazy story this season, and it's interesting to see, and where that character goes. That is probably one of the more. I mean, Octavia's story this season is quite heavily featured and it's quite wild, but Kane's like narrative throughout the season is. I was really kind of taken back by the way that Kane approaches conflict throughout the season. Yeah.
Can you spoil anything about Bellamy and Octavia?
It's really quite heartfelt, but also in a very morbid way. Yeah.
There's been a lot of death this season.
Oh, it sounds like it, huh? Yeah.
I mean, you guys had a massive scene where you were talking about the blood just overflowing for miles.
Oh, yeah. No, there's there's a lot. I mean, there always is, but it's quite a bloody season, I guess. I don't know if I can what I can say about it too much, but yeah, I mean, there's also a lot of character development and all that. I mean, I'm really interested to see how people will react to this season, just based on with all the 6 new characters and the huge character turns that have happened over that 6 years. It's kind of like a readjustment period in a way. So, yeah.
Would you say any of the characters are in the same kind of headspace when we last saw them?
Murphy.
Murphy's never changed.
Yeah, Murphy.
So what kind of
That's about
headspace would you say your character's in at this point?
Well, I mean,
6 years later.
Well, the thing that I've always found surprising about Bellamy is that he has this sense of hope and determination and perseverance. And there is part of him that, as you'll see in the first episode, that he can be a little bit frustrated by the pace of things. But for him, the huge change for him is his kind of mediator role. I mean, that was hard for me to get my head around, and I would talk to the writers about saying, oh, I don't feel like this is true to him, and they're like, no, but he's had 6 years and we're developing this story, and I'd be like, yeah, but I just don't feel like I'm playing the same guy. And then as the season went on, I kind of pulled off my blinkers and saw that they actually had quite a great arc for him this season that hopefully I played it well enough and it works. But yeah, it was a huge shift for me to play Bellamy that is a peacemaker in a way. Like I mentioned Kane before, it's kind of in that vein. So it's very foreign for me to play him like that. So that was.
Well, is the Murphy and Bellamy bromance dead at this point, or are they still strong?
No, I feel like they're kind of like big brother, little brother. Kind of reminds me of when I was younger with my brother and always trying to beat him at things like that, And it's only when you get older that you can actually beat your siblings at things. When they're 4 years older than you, they're obviously stronger and bigger than you and stuff like that. And I'm obviously stronger and bigger than Richard, so
All right, well, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
How would you describe things between Monty and Harper when we see them again?
I mean, I really hope, given the last time we saw them on the ground, they had, they chose each other. They chose life over death, specifically because of each other. So you'd hope that whether they make it or not, that they gave it their best shot. I'd like to think they're together, but 6 years in any human relationship is so unpredictable, and I wouldn't blame them if it didn't work. But you hope that they, that they tried.
Well, we can tell that Chelsea's been working out quite a bit, so obviously
Can you?
This is the revenge body she's
She could kill me in a second. Those abs, I will never have. And I'm I've got pretty good metal. Never. It's never gonna happen. And I've accepted that. Being around Chelsea has made me accept that.
Well, we got a sense that maybe she was working out a little bit extra in those 6 years.
Yeah, right. The prison time. How do you fill it? Tons of workouts.
So what's Monty been occupying his time with?
Well, I think it depends on what's up there. If there was a giant library of books, and I'm trying to think how I occupy time when I'm unemployed and not working. And yeah, I try to fill the tanks with books, music, good food. I think they'll be lacking in the food department, but hopefully they've got a big cultural library up there.
No Samoas.
No Samoas. A lot of algae. I know, no processed sugar, but an algae recipe that hopefully Monty has been really working on. He's had 6 years to get it right, and so.
Who's the first person he's going to want to see when he gets back on the ground?
Wow. Whoa. Oh my! Oh, pause. Caught me way off guard. Let's say I don't know. Octavia keeps popping into mind. Probably because her circumstances have changed the most. I know I can't spoil too much, but you can clearly see that she's quite different. And I hope that she's okay, because I know her relationship with the 100 in the ground has always been very divisive. So yeah.
Do you have creative input with your character now? Have you always had it?
No, not always. Definitely not. Especially when you're starting, I think we're all scared to rock the boat too much. You want to be a team player, and you want the show to do well. But as time goes on, it's nice. You have a bit more freedom to go. Okay. The show. We're not going to get canceled. this is what I would like to see happen. And I think for Monty, always more agency. Because I feel like he was always like Jasper's sidekick. He was like secondary to other people. So yeah, being a little more selfish has always been my taking control of his own destiny and worrying about maybe number one first, and then once he takes care of himself, taking care of other people.
It could be a minor spoiler, but does he get some of that in this new season?
I hope so. Oh god, the spoilers, these questions, these
I'm
tables.
sorry.
No, it's good. It's how can you not ask, but how can I not answer? It's the question as well.